Hope you had a good day. Did you listen to Joe Biden's speech? I have to tell you that I am recording this prior to his speech, but I have a pretty good idea what he's going to talk about. This speech is being touted as Biden's first campaign speech of 2024. And symbolically, he has selected Valley Forge, Pennsylvania as a place to give this political speech. Biden really, I believe this, I really do. He is attempting to preserve U.S. democracy. And his presumed opponent, the Antichrist Donald Trump, is doing everything he can to destroy democracy in this country and to aid in the destruction of democracy around the planet, really. But what Biden was going to do is speak in D.C. Tomorrow, but the weather is so bad. He was going to use his campaign launch speech as a way of commemorating what happened 3 years ago on January 6, 2021, the treasonous attack on this country led by the Antichrist Donald Trump. Biden is, I guess he's trying to point out, the reason he picked Valley Forge, he's trying to point out that where he's giving the speech, Valley Forge, was where George Washington's army endured another very dire moment in the history of this as yet unformed at the time country. The winter of 1777, 1778, I think, if I remember my high school history, that was an ordeal that was key in winning American independence from Britain, and Washington almost lost. The advanced copy of what he was going to talk about, not his speech in its entirety, but an advanced copy of the ideas that are being included in that speech. Biden said he would also speak about the Mother Emanuel AME Church massacre in Charleston, South Carolina, where back in June 2015, a young white Christian Nazi supporter of Donald Trump shot dead 9 black people who were gathered together for prayer. And the little white demon's motivation was to try to start a race war. This is what Trump wants. This is always what Christian fascists in any country, fascists actually in any country, regardless of the religion, they want destruction and death and fire and hell. And Trump is working towards that. His threats clearly indicate what he wants. Anyway, the Biden campaign is going to try to focus strictly on Trump, the Messiah, the Antichrist to these Christian crazy people in this country. And Trump continues to spread the lie that he was denied by electoral fraud the presidency for a second time. And, of course, that's what he said in his attempt to get his mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging, insane followers to overthrow the government of the United States and to keep him as president back in 2021, right? Anyway, the Biden campaign revealed yesterday that the speech that Biden was to give today, in addition to that, he released something called Cause. That's an ad that one advisor, political ad that one advisor said would, quote, set the stakes, end quote, for this year's election. In the ad, there's footage of Americans voting. I've seen it. Well, you probably saw it yesterday, but it's footage of Americans voting. And over the ad, Biden says, quote, I made the preservation of American democracy the central issue of my presidency. And he adds, over shots of white supremacists marching in Virginia in 2017, you remember those Nazi bastards back then, and the attack on Congress in 2021, Biden is heard saying, quote, there's something dangerous happening in America. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy, end quote. Well, duh. But, yeah, I mean, Biden is at least finally grabbing the Trump campaign by its filthy, clotted throat and trying to shake us, not Trump, trying to shake us out of the ennui, not you, not me, but you know what I'm talking about, the American public, out of this ennui where people are saying, well, you know, I don't know, man, eggs are still expensive. I think I'll vote for Trump. Jesus Christ. Wes Moore, who is the governor of Maryland, said on MSNBC, I think it was this morning, quote, the president is really setting the stakes and really hoping to set the platform for what people are going to hear. And Wes Moore added, from him, it's a vision for their future. From Donald Trump, they're going to hear a vision about his future. That's the difference. More than his future. I mean, Trump is a whiny little son of a bitch who, I've said it a million times, should be run out of the country. He really should have his citizenship taken away from him. Put him on a fucking boat and send him off the coast of Maryland. That's all you have to do. But here's the reality. We're only 2 weeks from the Iowa caucuses, and the orange Antichrist dominates Republican polling. And this doesn't make any difference that he's it makes no difference that he's facing 91 criminal charges, 17 of which concern election subversion. In 4 cases, the 4 cases against him. He also has civil trials over his business affairs and rape allegation and attempts to bar him from the ballot in Colorado and Maine under the 14th Amendment, which was introduced, obviously, we all know now. I never heard of that until Trump. After the Civil War, it was introduced to try to stop the traitorous filth here in the South from running for elective office. And you probably know, although you may have forgotten, because I forgot too until I heard this again, Trump has called January 6th, quote, a beautiful day. Only a filthy bastard like Trump, who has the devotion, the adoration of the Christian fascists, who have proclaimed him to be the Messiah, when in fact he's the Antichrist. But only his supporters could listen to somebody say that January 6th was a beautiful day and not just dismiss the person saying it as someone who should not even be running for, I don't know, some dog catcher role or something. And he has called the people imprisoned because of their violence and their attempt to overthrow the government and their role in the deaths of 5 people, the attacks on 140 police officers. He calls them great, great patriots. He also calls them hostages. At rallies, he has played Justice for All. That's a Star-Spangled Banner sung by jailed rioters, scum, filth, criminals. And that song is interspersed with his own recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. He should be denied the right to even mention those words. Oh, I know, Mike, what about freedom of speech? Yeah, okay. Anyway, the Orange Antichrist tomorrow, Saturday, he'll stage a rally in Iowa, which is less than 5 days before caucuses in Iowa kick off the 2024 election. I mean, it's very obvious at this point. We all know this. Trump has zero respect for anything. He doesn't respect himself. He doesn't respect his fucked up adult male children. He has very little respect for his daughter Ivanka, except to look at her with the lust in his eyes, as he's done over and over again. You know he has. Dear God. But he doesn't care about anything other than his own move towards power and money and his dictatorship. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.